Right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning back in today. This is session two of the series that we have catered for this AI Buildathon. That is, the event is organized by Future World Alliance and powered by Lovable to help you go from idea to build in a structured way. So, as part of the series today, we have Frank, who readily agreed to lead this session for us. He will be taking us through a structured process of understanding everything and then go ahead with the process. So, without further ado, Frank, over to you. Lead the
Yeah,
way.
thank you very much. Yeah, it's lovely to help support this group. I think I was only told about doing a session a few days ago, so yeah, it was all a bit of fun and games for me to just try and get something worthwhile to share with you. But yeah, thank you very much, Padma, and for inviting me, and in particular for your development of this whole challenge. And so yeah, I love the whole inspiration behind it, and also the curiosity. What I'm planning to do, again, this is just very much a basics, step-by-step approach with regards to how best to structure at the beginning. It's all about knowledge first. Build smarter once you've got your knowledge in place, and then it allows you to then ship with a bit more confidence. And what I mean by shipping is when you publish it and you share it with others. So let me get started. So yeah, my session is all about building smarter with Lovable through structured preparation. And so I'm going to be answering that question. What does that actually mean? Now, just a caveat, this is a beginner's step-by-step exercise because this is very much week one for your challenge. And I'm just going to pick up on the basics of vibe coding a little bit, particularly related to Lovable, so that you get started with at least a good shove from me with regards to the direction that you want to go in. Who am I? My name's Frank Dias. I'm the founder of an AI training and capability building consultancy called AI by Comms Lab. I've been running my consultancy for the last nearly 2 years, but I've been working within the AI space, particularly integrating it into my world of work in various different guises over the last nearly 3 to 4 years. So I've been seeing it live and how to work with it in the working world. But today I'm going to share just a few bits here and there, and hopefully there's a few gems in there that you'll take away. And you're very lucky today because I'm going to be sharing with you lots of templates and exercises that I'll be sort of showcasing in this short presentation. And hopefully it'll help build your confidence with it. My first tip for you all is YouTube is your friend. The Lovable blog page is your friend. And also your AI model of choice that you use is also your friend. So doing this work with regards to working with Lovable, you're not alone. So that's a key push for all of you that actually you're not alone in terms of building this. Oh, we got someone not on mute. Before you open Lovable, really it's all about preparation. So it's preparing all the efficient bits and pieces that you need so that you don't burn credits. And that's the challenge, is setting about 75 credits in total. I think 5 credits a day, I think. It's very easy to burn this the more you sort of vibe with it. So I'm going to give you a few hints and tips about how to really block it together and actually be smarter with your credit usage, and in particular your editing. Before we even dive into Lovable, there's 4 key documents I want you to actually create. And the good news is this QR code, if you take a snap, load that page up, it will take you to my shared repository where I've got those 4 key documents. Template 1 called a PRD, which I'll mention what that is in a second. Template 2, which is a design system, which I'll talk about in a second as well. Template 3, which is about coding standards, which again I'll explain. And then template 4, which is about security context. Now, most of these 4 templates, you don't really get told to set all this up at the beginning in terms of Lovable. But what these are, they are scaffolding to the work that you're looking at doing. So the more you get your real prepped documents ready, the more you're actually going to be more successful in really making your idea shine particularly when you've got good grounding behind it. And the good news is this sort of thinking and approach whereby you get your structure right at the very beginning in terms of the grounded knowledge and the trusted sources really relates to any AI model or platform that you're using. So just something for you to take away in terms of just thinking about how you use AI today. How much sort of grounded, structured scaffolding or systems do you put in place before you just dive into AI? So you get these freebies all off me. A copy of these slides as well is in that folder as well. And what I've said here and provided some more links. So you should get these slides afterwards, and they're in that drive I've just shared. But feel free to take screenshots as well. But I'm also promoting the Lovable's blog site as well, because there's plenty of knowledge in there. So, and they put a button in there saying copy all the content on that page. You can just grab that, paste it into your AI model of choice, and then you create your own sort of AI chatbot of all that knowledge. So again, top tips there. But this is a quick snapshot of those 4 documents that I'm going to cover. Oh, let's go forward. Right, so before you open Lovable, I mentioned these 4 documents. These 4 documents are product requirement document, which is known as a PRD. Most people in this vibing, coding, platform, app world, they normally create this, and it basically tells you what this thing is that you're building, but it lays it down in a nice structured format. The second document, which is important, is called the design system. And the design system is a document that you will use in the knowledge of Lovable, which deals with all the boring stuff such as colors, fonts, spacing, your approach to vibing. You'll see it in the template that it's got everything that you need to follow through. The third document is coding standards, which again is very boring. Is all the sort of file structuring, the behind the scenes, a bit more technical to help guide Lovable in how it goes about building your product that you're looking at doing with structure behind it. And then the final one is security standards. And the security standards, again, it's not really talked about very much, I've seen within the YouTube videos and anywhere else. And you'll probably find this a lot in just any AI talk. They don't really talk too much on the security stuff. It's all go do stuff without thinking about it. Security standards are important to just help you set the scene with Lovable about what type of product you're building. In this demo, I'm just building a demo, so I don't need it to have all the bells and whistles of other things that you would normally associate with building a web app around security. So you set these standards so that you let Lovable know that actually it doesn't need to think about all of the bells and whistles for your site just yet. But you'll see each template is nicely structured, nicely laid out, and it's up to you to then start to tailor what you get in those documents and what you get in those templates. So all in all, these 4 documents are all about giving your project guidelines. They're about persona development. They're about design assets. They're about the coding conventions that you want to put in place, which will make your output a lot more solid than if you just went straight in with it. It also helps guide Lovable to see the types of goals that you're after, as well as constraints and the preferences that you want to put in place. And all of this stuff of the 4 documents, most of it is going to fit into what's known as the custom knowledge space. And I'll cover that in a second. So what am I going to sort of demo a bit? It's going to be mostly screenshots rather than a live demo of it in live. But I've put together some nice screenshots which sort of take you through it step by step. My idea for this demo is something called Holiday Spark. And the whole concept of this web app is basically a holiday randomizer, whereby I want to be inspired about maybe a holiday of choice that I want it to give me. So give me a holiday idea and give me some activity ideas that I can do with it. And then I just want to put some filters in there on this web app in terms of my mood, what I'm after, and also the sort of time availability I have to give to these different holiday ideas. So that's my simple idea for this example web app that I'm looking at building with Lovable. Now, before we jump into Lovable, as I said, you've got these documents. What do you do with these templates? Well, the good news is you can use AI to help you. So pick up your AI model of choice, upload these 4 documents or 1 document at a time. Start with them in terms of the number sequence that I've given you. And what you can then do is have a chat with your AI model of choice. Mine was Claude for this example. And I just told it everything about my web app or website idea that I wanted to sort of work with Claude to develop a little bit further. So it has some good knowledge about what exactly it is that I want to build that's in my head. I then say to Claude, here's the template for the PRD. I want you to populate this template now with my web app idea. And what you'll find is your AI tool of choice will then use that template as grounded knowledge, as scaffolding, a structure, to then be able to populate it based on your idea that you're having. Now you do this with each of the 4 documents and you put out there that you're trying to do this with Lovable. Okay, and what you'll find in some of my templates, there'll be prompt examples that I'll put in there, and I think I've also got that in these slides. So that's what we're going to do with that. This is the work before Lovable. Get these 4 documents in shape for your idea that you want. So generate all 4 new documents in terms of your idea, and you're ready to then start to upload it into Lovable. As I mentioned, each of the documents contains important information for structuring, scaffolding, and helping it to align your idea to what you want to build. So in this example, my PRD for my Holiday Sparks web app was talking about an audience I wanted to target. The MVP that I wanted it to create, MVP is minimal viable product, which effectively is my app that I'm looking at vibe coding with Lovable. So I want it to have a randomizer button, for example, holiday results card, etc. So all of that sits in your PRD. Design system, this is what then gets put into the knowledge upload. Now this is all to do with your colors, my headings, all the sort of boring bits around formatting. That sits in your design system file. The next one is coding standards, and this is where I want a bit more of a technical direction of travel and structure for the actual filing system around how I want this web app to act. Now again, when you look through the template, it will guide you through all that, and it's pretty standard stuff. So it's really just to make sure that Lovable is using a trusted knowledge source to just keep it consistent. So that's why we use a coding standard for that. And there's, as I mentioned, I talked about security standards layer, and this is all about helping Lovable understand what type of web app you're building, and in particular relate to any sort of security elements to it. So with regards to these 4 layers within my template on security standards, I want to say to Lovable that I'm building a prototype. So it means that you don't need to burn credits behind the scenes trying to make it absolutely foolproof with regards to all the normal safeguards you'd want for a product once it's out there in the public site. So this is how you control some of the credits not being wasted. The next part is around, I don't need login or anonymous stuff behind it, simply because it is all really sort of in a demo position. So go on, Rob.
Thanks. So it's just a quick question. While you're talking, Frank, I was just having a look at the design system document as you're talking, and it's really, really detailed. Now, as you know, from everything to the padding and the hex codes for the colors and all that sort of stuff. Now, did you do that yourself, or did you? Well, how did you create that? Was it with AI where you said, look, this is a style I like, can you apply that? Or how did you do it?
Yeah, of course. If you have an idea, and in particular, you know your idea really well, you might already have some certain colors that you want. Yeah. So you then work with an AI tool of choice to then start to develop those colors and then start to get the hex codes in. So when I was mentioning about uploading the template into your AI model of choice, in that initial conversation that you would have with your AI, you would want to lay all that out and then iterate with it to land on exactly the right sort of color scheme that you're looking for. But as you'll find in the next couple of slides, I'll hint towards some of the other things. At the moment, I actually just want to build a skeleton. I actually don't need to get too bogged down. So I let Claude decide the color scheme in this example. But thanks for your question. And then number 3 is about zero personal data. I'm saying to Lovable that what I'm building with this web app doesn't need any personal data. It's not capturing anything. So my web app idea is very simple. But what I'm trying to do is give Lovable knowledge that this is what I'm building actually doesn't need too much security around it, because it's a fairly safe web app I'm building. And then the final one, again, is just really trying to hint and guide and steer Lovable with regards to, I don't need any API connections as well, which is connecting to databases and other potential products and platforms at this moment in time. I just want to build something really super simple. So you put all of this into your security standards template as an example. Now, opening prompt, when you go to Lovable, so you've got all those 4 documents, tickety-boo, in a decent place. Now what? Now you can go to Lovable. Now, the first thing you need to do with Lovable is actually create your project. Now, to create a project, you actually need to prompt something into Lovable for it to start. Now, I don't want to put all of my ideas all at once into Lovable at this moment in time, because I just want to create actually just a project name. So I want to use the minimum amount of credits to just create a skeleton for me, rather than go create my big web app idea. I also am not using any of my 4 templates yet. So I need to put my templates in place first into the work before I want to get started in terms of vibe coding my idea to life. So this means create a project shell. So for this, I've just put a very simple prompt to just say, I just want a project shell of my idea, which is Holiday Sparks. Do not build any features yet. Just set up the basic structure with a simple placeholder homepage. That's as simple as you can get with it. And then once that starts to build it, then we can start to now put the knowledge that we've got from those templates into the knowledge section under settings. So project shell. And as you can see in this example, it just used 0.7 of a credit to just do that. Whereas if you put your full idea into that, it will go about building the entire web app. And before you know it, you're eating into credits already. So think about that project shell to begin with. Now, this is what it came up with after I just set the project shell, which is fine. That's all I need it for. And because we're vibe coding with it, it means that once we've got the skeleton and shell in place, we can convert this into anything that we want to our heart's desire. So project shell, tick. Next thing, need to get all that knowledge that we've juicily put in place to now into Lovable for this particular project. So to access knowledge, you got to go to your top left-hand corner with regards to where the name of your web app is. Under the arrow down, then you can see settings, click on settings, and then you can click on knowledge. And what knowledge will give you is a customized knowledge space, which is empty. So most people might not know about doing this. I'm saying do this because this is where you customize the knowledge and give it grounding. Now, this is where you then jump into each of your documents to now copy and paste the relevant bits into this knowledge section. Where am I here? Let me just get my bearings on here. I'm going to come back to this one in particular in a second, because this is now getting started into putting my prompt into Lovable. Coming back to the customized knowledge section, what you'll see from my templates 2, 3, and 4 is at the end of each page, or at the end of the last page under each template, is a predefined prompt. You just need to collect all of that information in the final box inside each of those templates and then paste it into the customized knowledge field. And what that does, that just gives it a bit of structure, and you'll see that from the templates. So you gather up the knowledge, the customized knowledge from each of the 2, 3, and 4 templates that you've built and created yourself via your work with your AI tool. Hopefully that makes sense. I've realized I don't have a screen on that to actually show you what that looks like. But it's fairly straightforward once you've looked at the template. And then you put that into your customized knowledge and you save that. And then that's set for that. So that's your design elements, that's your coding elements, and that's your security elements. And there's already a structure in place for that. Right, on to now we're ready. Once we've got the knowledge right, now we're ready to start building with Lovable. This is where we go back to template number 1. And what you'll find in your version of template number 1, once you've worked with it, with the AI tool, to actually develop what your start prompt should look like, this would be pre-populated. But in the template, this is what it roughly looks like and what it will cover. It's build me a project type or idea that you're calling XYZ. This is my target audience, and this is the problem I'm trying to solve. These are the features I want it to have. This is the user journey. These are the design elements that I want it to try and follow. And this is elements of the tech stack that I want it to do. And then again, with regards to some of those elements, they're a little bit more technical than you need to do. But you can just copy and paste that in, and it will help give it a bit more structure behind the scenes. You can always look up what each of these tools or bits or new words do in other AI tools. All right, so that's to give you an idea there. So I grabbed my version of the starter prompt from my PRD document, pasted it into Lovable, knowing that I'd already set up the knowledge base, and then I got it to build. So it started to build my first app here in terms of the structure I wanted it to do. That used about 2.3 credits as a rough ballpark figure. And again, this was just the shell one. I actually haven't got a screen grab of what it looked like, but trust me, it added a bit more details to it. And then one of the things, particularly your point, Rob, once you've got all that ready, say if you change your mind around all like your design look and feel, say if you've gone up to other websites and you love the way they've positioned stuff and their layouts, this is where vibing really kicks in. And what I'm going to do now is just show you that I want to change my boring vanilla style into something else. So I'm going to use this example whereby I'm taking this visual inspiration to now convert my site, as you saw was the plain vanilla site, into something that gets sort of inspired by this diagram. Now, what you can do, you can go to all these different design sites. You can go to a site that you love going to as well, like a normal website that you visit, which you love the look and feel of it. You can just screen grab any of these different images, look and feel for different menu options, how things are laid out. And what you can now start to do with Lovable is attach those screenshots and then start to say to it, I love these things from these designs. Can you actually convert my one to look very similar to how that looks and reacts? And again, the more sort of description you put in as to why you like it and what exact elements of that you like, the more then it can really tailor, Lovable can then tailor what it ends up building for you. So for me in this example, very simple example, I just want to use this visual reference to actually convert my site. And so I plonked this in, used a very simple prompt here. Please tailor all the prompts to your needs rather than go with my very simple prompts. I've just basically said, redesign my site inspired by this illustrative design. And the results are, it's converted it now with that sort of yellow, hints of green that I had from that. It's made the buttons a lot more poppy and it just brought it to life. And in particular, it was such a good way of just getting an inspirational image to then work and redesign it. And this is where Lovable really works and where vibe coding really comes to life, is picking up these different bits and pieces and bringing them to life into your own ideas. And so this is where it made the difference for me. So as you can see, it's picked up on a lot of those little design elements of that illustration. So it picked up the yellow, the green. It picked up some of the sort of inking of the boxes and everything just from that one illustrative design. So it's super smart in the way Lovable works behind the scenes. So this is a screen grab of my working with Lovable to get there. So that's a very quick whistle stop in terms of scaffolding and building, and this will get you up and running. The next stage is very much up to you to then fine tune it as and when. But I'm going to show you a few other bits and pieces with regards to the navigation and the UI for you. I'm going to start in the top left hand corner. This is where I started at the beginning. This is where you access like the renaming. This is where you access your settings and a few other bits and pieces. So be curious, go and investigate all of these different elements to actually see what they do. I'm going to start at the top nav so that you've got a bit more of some knowledge on that. This is where we have our preview button, which again gives us the main preview. And then I'll dive into what each of those other little buttons next to it do. Definitely be curious, click on each one and see what it's sort of telling you. The middle one allows you, particularly when you have a bit more navigation to your web app, it allows you to swap on pages very quickly and easily so that you can jump to different pages of your site that you want it to do. So again, go check out some YouTube videos on how best to use Lovable's navigation, and then that will help you speed up. And then the final one in that top is sharing and also publishing. And again, those are fairly straightforward. Now, the key one really is the actual chat box that at the very bottom, which is how you communicate and engage with Lovable. You've got a nice plus button there, which allows you to access, quick access settings and also that knowledge space as well very quickly. It also allows you to attach files and things. If you're doing screenshots, you just have to keep that in memory. You don't actually have to save those screenshots. Get your screenshot, have it in memory, go into this chat box, and very much like most AI model tools, you can just copy and paste it directly in there from memory. But I like to try and save my screenshots, so at least I've got the originals of where I'm screenshotting. The next part within that chat box is visual edits. Now, when you click on visual edits, it then converts your preview page that you can see into all of the different elements that make up that site. So I could then click on, give me a holiday button, and visual edit will put a box around it to actually show me the elements of the technical build about it. And then I can just vibe code or chat with Lovable just about that element on that page. So that's how user then starts to dive into some of the detail and actually start to unpack some of that as well. Now, one of the top tips I would say is there's a button called Plan. And when you click on Plan, it allows you to have a conversation with Lovable without actually getting Lovable to build stuff. Now, why am I telling you about that? When you have a conversation with Lovable whereby you don't want it to do building, you just want a partner to chat through some of your ideas, you click on Plan and it doesn't use up any credits whatsoever. So click on Plan and then start to chat with Lovable about your idea without committing to build. Yeah, and it won't use any credits for you. So a top tip, particularly when you've got your idea, you're starting to like bits, not like bits, click on Plan and chat with Lovable about your thoughts and approaches about how best to edit certain elements before you commit to getting it to build, and that will save you some credits there. And then next to that is the sort of, you can chat with it rather than type with it icon, that sort of wave format there, and then the arrows just to submit. So that's just a very quick whistle stop tour of the UI of Lovable for you. And again, this is just a very simple breakdown around the top left menu, the chat build box and that plan mode, free, no credits taken. The top navigation, I forgot to mention, you have a view history so that you can always go back in time if something you did made a very big mistake. So you've got a really good viewing history that allows you to go back to a version previously. There's also something called Lovable Cloud. This is where you then take your app to the next level. Lovable Cloud, you delegate back to Lovable to manage all of the back end, AI model integration, the database, the front end. You can give all that to Lovable to do. However, there is some cost to that. So you just need to look into what does that mean for your type of app. And then the final one, there's around code view, whereby if you're into your coding, you can grab some of that coding, switch it over to like Claude, for example, to then scrutinize and rebuild elements of that. So if you want to just work purely with code on another AI tool, then you can do that via this code view to edit any of the pages in its code. You also get access to all the file structure in terms of behind the scenes of your site. How am I doing for time? I think I've got about 10 minutes. Padma, that's right. Oh, Rob with another question. Go for it, Rob.
All right, me again. Frank, so when you move to that code view and say you're working with Claude Code or something like that, do you then copy and paste that code across and then make the amends, edits, builds that you want to do, and then do you just copy it back? Do you?
That's what I would do. Yeah, if you wanted to do that sort of thing. Yeah. So
I suppose. And I gather that would also save on credit burn as well, would it?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I haven't fully tested that out myself. I've mostly just used with Lovable because effectively it's using a AI model. I think behind that there will be some elements of usage from a Lovable point of view, particularly when you start to save it, and then when it starts to connect with it and understand what sort of edits have taken place. So there would be some credit cost in that.
Sure. Yeah, and I guess it's got to check it.
Yeah, and also the thing with doing some of that, there is some caution to that because you're then taking off outside of the Lovable coding environment, which then add a lot of bloat stuff from any other platform that you use, which will all have their own individual approach to coding, which they favor, from Claude Code to ChatGPT's Codex, and all of that can have an impact in terms of the actual code in there. So it's very easy for Lovable to get really bloated in its code, and I'll give you a tip about how to deal with that as well. And then the next bit here really is there's a security element there which allows you to scan that. Sorry, I'm just, yeah, what do you want to ask? Sorry, everyone. Can I help you later, Ray? Sorry about that all. I don't. And so there's a security scan element on here which allows you to do some checks, particularly once you start to move to the next level. And then in terms of my top tips on efficiency building, don't just make one change at a time, particularly if you're just doing very simple things. But at the same time, don't stack it with so many multiple requests left, right, and center, because it can also get it quite confused. So it's all about collectively making collective changes which are relevant to that element that you're looking at changing. So do targeted prompts is better than particularly with more predictable outcomes and results when you start to segment your prompting in terms of your changes, rather than doing a laundry list of everything that you see wrong. But you'll need to sort of land in terms of how best to do that in terms of rather than just simply just one change, one element of changing at a time. And then coming back to the point that we were just talking about, there's something called refactoring, which is all about reviewing the code base and cleaning up any messy or redundant stuff that has come in because you're just constantly doing the vibe coding. That prevents technical mess. So you can use this simple prompt here, review the code base and clean up any messy or redundant files. So do that on a sort of fairly regular basis. I've put in here about every 10 or 15 prompts of vibe coding later. Get it to review your code base and clean up any messy or redundant stuff behind there. As I've mentioned, version history is super important, and it allows you not to have that confidence about, actually, if I make something wrong, actually I can just go back in time and reverse it. And then, as I've mentioned, chat mode is relatively free in terms of crediting, or plan mode, should I say. And then some advanced tips is parallel prototype trick, which is maybe before you dive into a single project, you might just do 3 quick mini projects which are related to your business idea. One might just be your raw brain dump, because sometimes actually just getting the build done helps inspire you to pick up on points that actually don't work. And then also maybe take that to the next stage, which is one focus brief, whereby you might just pick up on one element of your web app idea and just scrutinize that first and just land on a really good approach for that. And then the third element to that is maybe one reference-led version of your idea as well. So again, these are just hints and tips for you to consider, that just because you've got this code in set up doesn't mean that you actually build it in segments rather than build it all in one go. And then when you're stuck with anything within Lovable, switch to plan mode and then start to vibe with plan mode, knowing that you're not going to commit to a build and credit usage. Again, is super helpful when you've got an expert in the room next to you on this. And then the third one here really is about be surgical with your revision, so you don't burn up lots of credits by just doing really little edits here and there. And then my final bit here is just really around your prompt is essentially your PRD, really, particularly your first prompt. Don't just build me an app, really give it a strong brief to help really set up all that scaffolding structure so that you actually work with something good. Otherwise, that's everything that I wanted to share with you. Hopefully there's a few golden nuggets there for some of you in your thinking.
Frank, I have a question. When you mention chat or plan mode, do you think that works better, or your choice of AI, for example, ChatGPT, to frame your prompts better? Which one do you think works much better? I know generally use ChatGPT to build my prompts before using them in Lovable.
Yeah, sorry, Padma, could you repeat that one more time?
No worries. Yeah, I was trying to say when you mentioned that we can use chat mode or plan mode to frame our prompts in a better way without burning the credits, so that it helps in even saving the credits also. So you prefer chat mode, or you prefer other AI tools? Because I generally use ChatGPT. I give it the instructions and I tell it what I want and how I want to save the credits. So you think which one works better, ChatGPT or the chat mode on Lovable itself?
I think it's very close.
Or any other AI tool in that case.
Yeah, I think it's very close, really. At the end of the day, Lovable is completely connected to the entire Lovable ecosystem. So you've got more chance of alignment with Lovable as an expert in Lovable than you do with ChatGPT or Claude. Because at the end of the day, both of those two models will not be fully connected to everything to do with Lovable. It won't have sight of all of its system prompting and all of the work that's gone in to make Lovable what it is today, as well as all of the latest enhancements. So use the plan mode really as your Lovable expert more so than the other tools there. But you can use all of them really. I don't think there's too much difference, but the Lovable plan is built for Lovable.
Sounds good. Thank you. Nusra, you had a question. You can just unmute and then talk.
Hi, Padma. Actually, I also had the same question because I also use this ChatGPT to, prompt things for me. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for your answer.
That's all right. I think test it and see is the best thing to do. But again, with ChatGPT, I would always ground it with knowledge that I've researched. So one tip I would say is go and find all of the YouTube videos which you think are super good in terms of their guidance on using Lovable. Grab the transcripts from all of those videos that you feel are super good. Save that into a document, upload that into Claude, into ChatGPT to give it that grounded knowledge of experts. And then you're getting real users sharing how best to leverage Lovable more so than just Lovable's knowledge, which won't really have that outside experts sharing how they're really using it. Like real users really sharing how best to use Lovable more so than just Lovable sharing how best to use Lovable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Great, great. Thank you.
So,
Soumya, you have a
Soumya,
question?
yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to know like when we connect Lovable to GitHub and we make any code changes there, so will it consume any credits in Lovable? And also one more thing, like when we make any code changes, will it reflect like instantly in Lovable? So how that works?
Yeah, you're going to have to look that up a little bit more in how that in what Lovable say about the connection in GitHub. From my understanding, it is in complete sync, so it will update the repo within GitHub with any of your technical coding updates there. So it's in complete sync once you connect all the right bits and pieces. You're on a, I would recommend on a paid plan, you would need to be, I believe, for the GitHub connection as well. But definitely go and research that to really align with your question a lot more. And there'll be plenty of people on like YouTube who've done this for you. There's plenty of information in the documents on Lovable, but I believe it's in really good sync, and it then helps with like your version history as well via the repo and in GitHub.
Okay, thank you.
Gurpreet has shared a document in the chat, how to connect your project to GitHub. Maybe that will give you some idea.
Yeah, super cool.
Gurpreet, yeah. Gurpreet, you have a question?
Thanks, Padma. Thank you, Frank, for doing this. And for us, like it really is helpful. I have been building with Lovable, and I'm very curious about the opening prompt that you suggested about creating just a skeleton rather than, just starting off in plan mode and then talking to Lovable, and then it asks quite a bit of follow-up questions these days about your audience and this, like what is the scope of your project. So why do you think that like your opening prompt, I mean, why is it like how useful is it? Like I have not started with such a prompt ever, but
Neither me, yeah.
yeah, why is
No,
a skeleton necessary?
As you'll find with AI, there is no one way to skin this cat. So this is just one route to do it. The reason why I did a skeleton prompt was I wanted it clean before I uploaded, because the only way I can upload my knowledge is if it's created the project. So I used a skeleton approach to just create the project. And because I kept it super clean, all the code is super clean, which means then when I give it my grounding of the customized knowledge, it starts off with a fairly blank canvas to work with, which means that any build that happens is passed through my custom knowledge first, whereby I start to build consistency with all the other builds based and linked to and grounded in my customized knowledge. But otherwise, you can do both. You can do both ways. One, you can do your first idea, get it up there, and then put your customized knowledge in. That's fine as well.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
all
that
comes
makes
down
sense
to
now.
lots of things behind the scenes that you might not be privy to without good knowledge about it, and mostly really to just not burn credits. So Padma set the challenge: don't burn lots of credits.
Yeah.
So this was my tip to say: don't burn lots of credits. Get it into a super neat place first, and then dive into your idea.
Yeah, that makes sense now. Like for the project to use your custom knowledge base, it is required to have those things in early rather than guiding it later.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it doesn't let you do it until you built your
Right.
project.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Frank, I have a follow-up question. When we upload the knowledge base in that workplace, is it limited to the workplace or it is limited to that particular project?
Just that project. So each
Just that
project that
project.
you create has their own customized knowledge attached to
Okay.
that project. Yeah, which is why I needed to do a skeleton. I can't have a universal project. I can't have universal customized knowledge for any project I build. And most of that is to do with each of your projects that you're going to build will have some slightly different nuances that you need it for. So that's why they've set it up where each project has its own customized knowledge space.
Got it. Grace? If you're talking, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
Okay.
Grace.
So my question is a little bit about the visual edits, because I thought it was actually a little bit easier to, on one side, even identify and talk about and name sort of this is the object I want to change. And I thought it was going to be maybe a little bit more economical as well to to use the visual edit. Well, I made some mistakes. For example, I deleted fully one, and it's sort of the whole logic disappeared. So yeah, I understand it needs to be used with caution. But my question is, for example, for small edits, like, I just want this piece to be double of the size. I find it a little bit difficult to, I would have loved to have just a way to, just enlarge the whole thing without having to prompt, just, highlight it and prompt, okay, I want this to be double the size, right? Maybe I just don't know how to do it.
And when you say double the size, what do you mean, Grace? So,
for example, I have an image, an avatar, and I want to make it bigger. Yeah, maybe it's displaying too small. So now I find I can, go to visual, click on it, so highlight it, so I can see in the prompt, it's sort of highlighted, and there is the name of the object, and then I'm like, okay, I want to make it larger, but I don't know if I can manually just do it visually, right?
Yeah, the way Lovable's built is everything should be done through Lovable, mostly through text or chat, and let it do the editing. So effectively, you're in a room with a coding expert, effectively is what it is. You're just the person telling it instructions to do, rather than you going about and doing those things, because you'll come into a bit of problems if you do that. And the other thing around that is, I would say that using plan mode in that chat to actually just talk with it first about this element will actually help you as well align in terms of what's possible and what's the best approach with it. And the other thing is, if you're particularly changing icons or imagery, have you created those images or icons, or Lovable has? What's the quality of those different elements? Because they might actually just be spec'd to be best quality just for that size in. So therefore, expanding an icon which might actually only be generated to be that size will then make it pixelated and other things. So there's all these little nuances that you would need to, I would use Plan to just chat with it about. But yeah, give that a go and let us know.
Okay, thanks.
I think we can take one last question. It's in the chat. It's
Siobhan,
about requiring a bit of more techie knowledge to connect to the GitHub and creating PRD.
Yeah,
it depends on what,
it's not a question. It's a
Yes.
it's a statement saying
Yeah.
sorry, and apologies because I joined late, so I probably missed the very critical bit at the start. But at the same time, when someone starts mentioning GitHub, it's like I have a vague idea of what that is, but yeah, I could be lost here, so I'm going to go back and look at the recording and jump on YouTube videos as well.
Yeah, Siobhan.
Sorry, one of my main questions is there a way of limiting your token spend or your credit spend, or seeing how much is being spent with each edit? Because I don't want to burn through credits.
Their business model is all about burning through credits. So therefore, the smart way is to pick up on some of the different tips I've mentioned in here. Go and check out other people's YouTube videos who are a lot more experienced than I am with Lovable, and they'll be sharing a lot more. But the takeaways really are, don't just waste your editing. This is very much about collectively segmenting the edits that you want to do, because all of it's invisible. All the credit charges is all invisible. The way we use AI, all invisible behind the scenes. So you don't know how much that would cost in terms of, there could be real big complications in the coding work that it needs to do, but it won't tell you that. It'll just go about and do it because you as the owner have asked for this. So you're the boss, and you've asked them, this minion, to just go about and do this. But they realize that you don't need to see all that. So it could escalate.
That's brilliant
to mention
advice.
something.
Please do.
I actually found after each prompt, there is sort of a like, thumbs up, thumbs down, and 3 dots. If you click on the 3 dots, you will see how much that prompt costed you.
Oh, brilliant.
So, yeah, so I'm following this all up. And then you can also see on the project like view, you know, your total spendage. So you have X amount of total credits and you're, you know, currently at X. So I'm noting all of this down because day by day to follow Padma's recommendation to keep a close eye on the consumption. But yes, the logic about why one prompt costs, you know, 1 credit and another cost 5, that we don't see, but at least you can follow a little bit.
Yeah, that's invaluable. Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just sharing that on screen as well.
Exactly. Yeah, there they are.
It's great shout. Yeah, at the end of the day, Lovable also have something called Enable Cloud, because Lovable's been built for lay people to use. And so they try and hide all the technical, because you don't roughly need to know about it. But at the same time, when you go into serious production with whatever you're creating, if it's just a hobby thing or a nice to have thing, that is not too bad. But then when you start to get into a lot more details, such as you need people's logins to get a personalized experience, then you start to work with a lot more security elements that need to come in. So Lovable have something called their Lovable Cloud. And again, there's cost to it, but they'll look after all the back end, such as databases and storage. So yeah, it all depends on your idea and where the scale is, because at the end of the day, the scale will dictate about the seriousness that you then take it in. But you don't need to put it in GitHub at all whatsoever.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Those were some great questions and amazing session, really. I think, thank you so much, Frank. I think this was really timely to actually use your tips and then templates and the knowledge base that you have shared to save on the credits. This was really amazing. For everyone who have joined live or watching this recording, please, I'll be sharing all the data templates that Frank has shared. Please use them before you start building on the Lovable to save the credits, because this is really important. And never stop building. This is somewhere this big starting of something really big. And the more you experiment, the more you start building, you will start understanding how it actually works. So that's the reason we have built it in a 15-day sprint, so that it's not just one day you just start putting your prompts and then start building it and burning the credits. You understand how actually the process works. Thank you so much for joining. And tomorrow we have another session from Lucio. The title is From Build to Beyond, how to make your Lovable app something people want. So let's catch up at the same time tomorrow at 8 a.m. PST with this amazing session. Once the recording is up, I'll be sharing it on the YouTube channel. Please watch for the video. And Frank, again, thank you so much for taking this time and then leading this session for us.
Yeah, thank you all for all your questions. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Frank. That was brilliant. And Padma.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Take
I had
care.
one
Good
more
luck.
question.
Oh, go
Yes.
on.
I had one more question. It was for you, Padma. For some reason, I can't access the chat, but it was, is there a link to a Lovable gallery It showcases some of the most ambitious apps that the users have created. So Frank was talking at the end there about using Lovable Cloud when your ambitions of the app get a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Is there something like the greatest hits or something like that?
Yeah, I think I just saw recently on the LinkedIn, one of our ambassador, he had created an app wherein to showcase all the amazing builds that we have from the ambassador's perspective. So let me just find that link and then I'll share it with you. Definitely, I'll put it in the chat on the YouTube channel once we upload it, and also will share those links on LinkedIn as well when I share this recording. So do watch it for that. I just need to go through those posts and then find that link.
Perfect. Hey, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
everyone
Take
for
care.
joining.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Have a great
Bye.
rest of your day. Bye.